What do you think, Flav, about the signing of Dominic Solanke? We know Harry Kane left season before last, wasn't really replaced. Did you think that he was the right man? And have you been quietly impressed with his start to life for Tottenham?
Yeah, I did. I thought he was the right man when we were linked with him way back in, I think around April time. It was mooted. It was going to be either Toney or Solanke. And Postecoglu has come out and said they looked at Toney but just preferred Solanke in terms of the profile and what we required. So I didn't really have any doubts, and I took some time to speak to Bournemouth fans who were gutted that he was gone and saying that he's just so much better than you think he is. And so far we've seen it play out. He offers us some of the things that Kane used to. Now he isn't on Kane's level. I mean, that is without doubt. But the way we play, he will get so many opportunities that I'd be amazed if he doesn't score 20 goals in the Premier League this season, and that's worth £65 million over. If he does that 3 times over, then probably even sell him on for more if he wanted to.
What are your thoughts on James Maddison? He's a player that I find really frustrating because I really, really like him as a player. I think he's got lots of ability, but I just don't think he's really maybe in his whole career ever kind of lived up to his potential. Like he got the big move to Spurs fine, and then kind of last season felt like it was kind of a summary of his whole career. Start well, get injured, come back, and then not be so good. And you kind of feels like I thought Old Trafford, he was magnificent, the way he controlled the game. But there are other games like the North London Derby where I just feel like too often in big games he goes missing. Is he a frustrating player to watch sometimes in that respect? No,
I think we're really still excited by the fact that he's playing his football at Tottenham. I think last season it's very difficult to judge any of the Spurs players because of they were getting used to what Postecoglu wanted from them, and it wasn't easy, and there were high demands certainly on defence. And Maddison had that injury and did come back and didn't quite recapture his form, which is fair to say. But what you're seeing this season is a clicking across the field in those first 6 games. Really, big improvements on what we saw last year defensively and controlling the ball. And because we have so much more of the ball, and when you end up playing teams like Manchester United and Brentford who wanted to play a little bit out, like trying a mid-block rather than what we saw from Arsenal, which was kind of a low block, all-out defend and try and transition into the counter-attack. Brentford and Man United didn't do that, which gave Maddison so much more space, which is probably why you saw a more impressive performance. It's going to be a different challenge for when we come up with a team that wants to defend more resolutely than Brighton were at the weekend, for example. But no, there seems to be this kind of holistic move forward from the team, and we seem to have a better understanding collectively for what Postecoglu is asking of these players, and you see in the performances. I'm really excited about what Spurs might do this season.
So in terms of people that sort of would say, last season he was too attacking, he needed to be, in certain games maybe a little more defensive minded. You think there has been a slight refinement in the tactics then this season? You mentioned there in terms of, you're playing sort of the extra man in midfield, aren't you? It's sort of you think he's trying to be a bit more of a possession based team.
He's doing more of the same but better. He's not. Right. There is. I mean, we're as attacking as we were last season. At times, you're like, this is insane. We've got a front 6. We're playing a 2-2-6. No, he hasn't reneged on any of his attacking principles and the way he plays football. And he's made up. He's been pains in press conferences to say, we're not going to change. This is the way we play.
It's who we are, mate.
It's who we are, mate. But that was horrendous, wasn't it? But the control of the ball, the players are much more comfortable in high pressure scenarios. And the move from Kulusevski from the right wing into midfield has been a revelation. Like, I don't know if you've picked up on any of this, but Kulusevski...
He was so good on Sunday, wasn't he?
He was amazing on Sunday, but he's been amazing throughout the season. And that's been massive. Because, you remember when Joe Linton went into midfield? It's not dissimilar to that, but he's a little bit more like... In the same way you could not get the ball off Moussa Dembele, that's what we're seeing with Kulusevski. He's played in that central role for... his entire career. It was only when he went to Italy and Juventus that he was sort of pushed out wide, and when Conte brought him in that role to play there, that he's kind of been playing an out of position, that he would argue. But he was reported, he was interviewed by Swedish newspapers at the weekend, and he's saying he just feels unstoppable when he plays in the middle. So yeah, it was great. He was the man of the match against Man United, and it feels like it's just clicking. Now, don't get me wrong, we could go to Brighton at the weekend and get absolutely done, because
it's a crazy game, isn't it?
It should be a really good game of football. We play a very similar brand of football, similar tactics, so it'll be very open. I just feel like we're further down the line than
But
they are.
you're very much an Ange fan, aren't you? And you think some of the noise that's come Spurs and Ange's way over the past couple of weeks, certainly after North London derby, way too over the top and not fair.
100% way too over the top. You haven't seen what he's able to do yet. I mean, if he's just over a year in the job, right? We went from 8th to 5th. Arteta in his first season went 8th. We were already. He's already Klopp didn't finish 5th in his first season. What if you listen to the fans and listen to the many Arsenal fans that were going Arteta out? Yeah. What would if the club cannot listen to the supporters in that respect? You have a project, you're built towards it, you're buying players that need to be bedded, and you have to give Ange Postecoglu enough time to get the kind of football out from the group of players that he has, so that it may become a reality. What possible benefit to Spurs would there be by sacking him now and not seeing what potentially could be and what he's achieved at every other football club he's ever managed? We've seen it everywhere he's gone. He's always brought them forward and got them to a point where they're playing amazing football. And we could be about to see that. But a bad result against Arsenal means sack him. I mean, there's a good reason why football fans don't run football clubs and manage Premier League football teams, because a lot of us don't really know don't fully understand
that one. What about Brennan Johnson? Because he took some stick, didn't he, after that North London derby?
Yeah.
I think he deactivated his social media accounts,
Instagram,
is that right?
yeah.
And then, since then he's been on fire, right? 4 goals and 4, scored again at Old Trafford. Could have had a second, couldn't he, hit the post? But
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I've always thought with Brennan Johnson that I would say that I didn't quite think that maybe he was good enough to if Spurs have got ambitions, which you do, to get yourselves in the top 4, and I'm sure in the years to come to be challenging for the big trophies. I thought watching him at Nottingham Forest, I was surprised you spend that amount of money on him.
Yeah,
to be fair, maybe he's done a bit better than I thought, but I
think that's fair.
Is that fair? Is
I
that
think
Spurs fan to him?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think what he is. He hasn't performed at a level that you'd assume a 50 million pound player would do. But what he does is well, and why Ange likes him is he plays his role perfectly, right? His role in Ange Postecoglu's system is crucial out wide, and he doesn't deviate. He does exactly what he's told to do. Now, when the critical aspect of it comes in when he's on the ball, once he's got to that position and he hits the first man, or he doesn't do what we expect him to do. He deactivated his Instagram account. Horrendous abuse that was sent to him, absolutely pathetic. And now he's just knuckled down and scored 4 in 4. Could have had 5, as you said. Could have had 2 on against United. And he's back playing with confidence. Again, sometimes football fans have a lot to answer for, and the way they behave is unacceptable, and the way he was treated is unacceptable.
Final questions before we break. I want yes or no's. Will Spurs come top 4?
Yeah.
Will Spurs win a trophy?
Yes.
What trophy?
Europa League and the League Cup.
You serious?
And the FA Cup. Yeah, definitely Europa League.
You think in Europa League?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty weak competition.
4th place in Europa League, eh? Happy days.
3rd.
Above who?
Liverpool.
You think, really?
I don't know, man. I hope so. My dream, I'd say 3rd, but for that 4th. We talked about Chelsea. We talked about Villa. Newcastle, all of them.
Should be a good race for top 4 this season.
Yeah, it should be.
I think Europa League, I think you're right. You look at teams in the Europa League, there should be no reason why you guys couldn't win that competition.
Yes, Man United are the second favourites, right?
Yeah, that's a concern, isn't it? So here we are, mate.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.